thank you for staying with us, and we get into our big stories this morning with Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament, Tamale Central, and Dr. Dickson Adomako Kissi, Member of Parliament, Anyaa-Sowutuom. Both of them join us for this conversation. Now, we have a number of matters we've tabled with a focus on Parliament. Has Parliament become a rubber stamp, and what Parliament is going to do when it comes to, at least per the Speaker, when it comes to police military brutalities. We're also going to be looking at the cabinet as far as the public officers, conduct of public officers bill is concerned. We'll be bringing you details on that. But as we had our own confab in the studio, starting with Ronaldo, Messi, and Murtala, and his CR7 is the best of all time. I'm sure you agree with me.
Messi is won Ballon d'Or 7 times. They all played in the same league. Messi and Ronaldo played in the same league. I say Messi and Ronaldo played in the same league for 10 years.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Within the 10 years, Messi won the league 8 times, won the best player in that league 7 times, won the European best 8 times.
And he had two stolen Ballon d'Ors.
And gave more assists.
And he
gave more assists. So
he's been terrible at PSG.
Forget of what Messi did before Ronaldo came to Spain.
He's like a fish out of water.
When he came, they played in the same league against the same opponents for 10 years.
Not the same team.
I said against the same opponents.
Not the same team.
I said against the same opponents.
Not the same team. That's the point.
The team makes a difference.
But if they were playing the same
coaches make a difference.
Just explain the same opponents for 10 years. Messi won the league 8 times.
Just one thing.
8 times.
Just one thing.
Won the best player 8 times. Won the goal king for that league for that league 7 times. Won the European best. Won the European best. Let me be very clear.
Can you give yourself pause for just a few?
Scored more goals. Scored more goals than Ronaldo.
They always have to talk more because the facts.
I said scored more goals. In any case, what are the facts?
But I just want to find out, how do you feel? I mean, people had said in the past that Messi was a one-trick pony, one league pony, stay in the Spanish La Liga, and that is it. And we've been proven right. The first time he did... No, hold on. I gave you your take. Ronaldo did it in Portugal, winning the league. He did it in England, winning the league, everything that was available. He did it in Spain. He's done it in Italy. Your guy, a certain Lionel Messi, does it in Spain, yes. He goes to France, which is actually
and won the league.
The 6th league. In fact, the least competitive league in Europe.
Portugal
and he scores 2 goals.
Portugal is number 1. Portugal is number 1. And when they 2 goals, how many assists?
Staying on the football.
As a matter of fact, his team has qualified for UEFA. The team Ronaldo played.
It's teamwork. It's teamwork. That is the only thing that would drag along a certain... Before Messi came...
So that is why I'm saying that let's forget of the teamwork. Forget of what Messi did before Ronaldo came to Spain. When Ronaldo played in Spain with Messi 10 years, within the 10 years, the objective of every team is to win the league.
Yes, within that period, how many Champions Leagues did Real Madrid win?
Now you see. When I talked about, you said, it's a.
Oh yeah, but if you want to go that way, then I'll go that way.
Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or. The team he played won the Champions League.
And you can see how members of Parliament are passionate about football, which is a good thing. How do you feel then about yesterday's performance when it comes to the Black Stars? 3-0 thrashing of Madagascar. Mohamed Kudus on target, Afanajan first goal. In fact, Osman Bukari as well. 2 new ones getting their first goals for the team. How do you feel?
Unfortunately, I didn't watch the match. In fact, I left the office very, very late because there was something I was doing. But I was elated, to be very honest. I listened to synopsis of the commentary, and I think I was elated. It gives me hope that we have a coach and a technical team that are doing well. We need to encourage them. And the good thing about it is that the coach is not afraid to venture because these are new players. Hitherto, you would find those old players who are still being used. And I see a blend of experienced players and new players, and they are proven. You see, the new players and the young players are playing with some profound desire. They want to make a name. And for me, that is one thing that is encouraging. You can't have the old professional players who play in the same team. Egypt, the year Egypt, was celebrated when they won African Cup of Nations several times. Most of their players were local players. And I think for me, that is one very positive thing about it. I just want him to see whether we can identify some local players within the Ghanaian league. If we have such players also coming on, I think it will help the team.
All right, so As we discussed, we're going to be looking at Parliament and its work. But I want us to take a quick swipe before we get into those. And in agreement with you, we had this discussion. I want us to take a quick swipe at 3 issues. I was going to bring 2, but you added another one, and I concede. The first one has to do with inflation, especially food inflation, yeah? I got this from the Chamber of Agribusiness, Ghana.
Zumi.
Oh, yeah, you heard me talk about Zumi. So just consider this. A bowl of soya bean last month, which was sold for 12 cedis, is now going for 20 cedis, while a bowl of maize, which was sold for just about a little less than 8 cedis, is now 8 cedis this month. A box of fish was sold for 440 cedis. It's now going for 575 cedis. And especially with fish, when you go out there and you buy stuff, you'd see that they are telling you fish that you were buying at 10 cedis is now all of a sudden 15 cedis. Salmon was 450, is now 550. A bowl of groundnuts, which was sold for 15 cedis in April, has increased by 2 cedis. It's now sold at 17 cedis. 3 tubers of yam, you would have got that for around 35 cedis. Now it's 45. Half a bowl of a small-sized paint container of tomatoes. Tomatoes, no dear, it's out of control. It was sold for 25 cedis. It's being sold now for 25 cedis, and it was 20 cedis last month. Now the Zumi bit, which you heard, 65 cedis just last month, now 70 cedis. Let me wrap with eggs, because that's also another crucial one. A crate of big eggs last month went for 32 cedis. It's now going for 35 cedis. And all of these developments, I'll start with you, Doc.
Yeah.
Do you see this in your constituency? Anyaa-Sowutuom. Is that the reality?
The pain is not, let me say, discriminatory. Every part of the country is going through.
We all have our share.
And whether it's up north where they're actually making millet and all these things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not it's not surprising. I mean, you know, the key thing about prices is transportation of goods, and the key index in there is fuel.
Yeah.
And everything runs on fuel.
Yeah.
And that is the fact. And once fuel prices worldwide have issues and are not controlled necessarily by government, you know, these are expected. And then the other key thing, I mean, I've heard people trying
when
to...
he said are not controlled necessarily by government, Murtala gave me a look. He'll give
you a sigh. It's not surprising.
I know what he has his bite you.
It's not surprising. but these are facts, and, you know, facts are facts, whether you like or you don't. You know, the key thing is that worldwide, we all know that prices are changing almost every 3 weeks or so. And that is a fact. You know, whether you're an oil-producing country or not, you don't have the luxury of fixing your prices. Now, I think that personally, I beg Ghanaians, we all need to adjust. And as the appropriate word is, maybe tighten our belts, in the sense that is the only way you can save some money. So if I'm visiting twice a week, I have to change that.
If you're going to, I mean, we've spoken to people who have said, I used to go to the hair salon maybe X number of times. You know, I've cut it out because the reality is,
because, I mean, salaries are not going up. That is a fact.
Yeah.
But our needs and demands are going up. And I really think that, and let me just say this.
And just briefly on this, because I want us to run
let me just say this
issues very quickly.
Once our constituency members are struggling, we are struggling as members of parliament, because...
What does that mean for you? Because I know a lot of them come to you and they want this and they want
you
that.
know, and that's why I'm saying that we are going through what they're going through. If there were 10 people coming to me for help, obviously now it's 20. And that drains all of us.
How much averagely do you spend on your constituents in a week, in a month? I've heard some interesting figures. Some people are talking about at least 2,000 to 5,000 a week. Is that your reality as well?
We can do that as an average, but
as an average,
because
you know why your
change.
Constituency is big.
The cycles
it's huge,
change.
in fact.
Yeah. The cycles change too. I mean, opening of school, you get hit. When they are vacating, you get hit. So some weeks you and you know, I mean, Charlie, these days we don't think about it. But you know, I really think that personally, as of yesterday, I was considering doing a series on what MPs really are supposed to be doing, as opposed to what.
But you want to run away from? Please, no, listen. You the MPs, you've established a certain trend. Follow the trend. Now you want to run away.
No. We need to brief.
You want to now tell us what MPs are supposed to.
We need to brief, you know, our people, our constituents, so that they really appreciate.
All right, let me come to Murtala. Please, let's be quick on these because I mean these are. Passing issues, you know. I want us to get into the meat of the matter, but
and before I forget, please, the watches sellers still add some more beans. I mean,
Dog, you could be this morning. The watches sellers should add more beans.
We beg them because it seems like now some of them, Charlie, they should add some more beans.
You could be this morning. I said beans, no, but it's because of the price of beans.
I know, but
the price of beans has shot up.
What is watching without the beans inside? Now it's like, you know, I beg them.
Is it plain rice you are getting or watching? All right.
I know he likes beans. I served in the same committee with him, going around the public hearing. Anytime we were going for our meals, if there was beans,
that's what he would go for.
Good morning. One of the few very objective members of parliament you find in the MPP, to tell you the truth.
But I'll say this, even as you start off on this tangent, I like your realism. You're very real on most issues, and I doff my hat to you for that. My imaginary hat.
That's why the Minister of Foreign Affairs want him out.
She wants you out. We don't have
this. The Minister of Foreign Affairs. I beg of you. I beg of you. This time our West, not your West, not his. But I'm saying that his constituents, he's a very fine gentleman. The Minister of Foreign Affairs. He can sit here and pretend. I have a lot of friends.
Okay, so we do not have any such information, and we dissociate ourselves from those comments because I do not.
We are talking about.
You don't have any evidence.
We are talking about prices.
I have friends to support the minister wants him out. A fine gentleman. He wants him out. We'll be happy.
Let's stick to the issue.
Let me just say that it is not true that globally fuel prices or crude prices are going high and therefore it must automatically go high here. You also indicated that governments don't have control. The tax buildup consists 45% of it taxes on our fuel. Remove those taxes. If you remove them, the prices will come down. The Minister for Finance, this incompetent Minister for Finance, who is there because of his family relations with the President, the Minister for Finance told everybody in this country that we are now a net producer of crude. So when global crude prices go high, certainly there is a windfall.
He made a correction to that.
He never made any correction. This was captured in the 2008-19 budget, where he indicated that we sold, in fact, crude. We made a profit about about 2 billion, and then we bought refined oil.
What you send out, you get less.
Oh, no. You let him make his point. I'll let you come in.
This point here. Go and check the 2019 financial statement, where he indicated how much we made as a result of the surge in global crude prices. When crude prices globally was about $60+ per barrel, we made about almost $300 million dollars as a windfall. Now, anytime there is a surge in global crude prices over $100, we're making $40 on each barrel. That is what it means. So you cannot.
But internally, when we also, the ministries, the departments, the agencies, they also buy at that price. So it's a give or take. You might end up with a Pyrrhic victory. Internally, in our own system.
But I'm saying that once you are now a net producer of crude, there's a windfall. So anytime prices go high, you make some profit. And that is why Nigeria cushioned their consumers by subsidizing the prices because of the challenges confronting us today. So you can't have any excuse. The taxes that you build, and I met my senior brother, Honorable Anta, the deputy minister. I still go through some of the press conferences they held, raising the same points I'm raising today when he was at ASEP. What has changed? So spare us that global crude prices are going high and therefore it is not. Government has absolute control. Remove the taxes. But you see, I'm a farmer myself. There is a fear. If we don't take time, there will be serious crisis by next year. I've seen farmers in the north who have decided that this year they are not going to engage in the production or in the plantation of maize. They want to move to soya beans.
That will be disastrous because maize is a staple,
No,
and even in
several farmers,
animal husbandry.
I know what I'm talking about. Several people. I did maize, but I want to do about 200 acres of soya beans. It's simple. And if you ask them why they want to do that, they can't buy fertilizer. And soya beans doesn't necessarily need fertilizer. So you go and find those, even those engaged in subsistence farming, they say, look, I can't buy fertilizer. And therefore, I'm going to engage in soya beans plantation. Once there is a ready market for it, you are not going to buy fertilizer. Of course, some who have the luxury, you can use fertilizer. But without even fertilizer, you can still find your soya beans. And for me, that is the danger. You have a government that has touted itself, planting for food. The gentleman now wants to be the president of this country. I can't imagine planting for food, yet there is a surge in prices of foodstuff in this country. Either they are not telling us the truth, or they think that we are a bunch of idiots in this country. But we are not. But see, last point. In all these challenges that are confronting us, he's saying that he thinks that we should tighten our belt. My brother, my honorable brother, the difficulty is that you people don't even have belt hooks. Now, if you are telling me that I should tighten my belt, and look, that if a person says he'll give you a hat, the first thing you do is to look at the head of the person and see whether he's wearing one. Now, you tell us that we should tighten our belt. You don't have belt hooks. This government has increased the number of presidential staffers to an unprecedented level. You know the number? 337 presidential staffers.
I saw Okudjato's
and all these people are also Article
71
office holders.
Right.
So the number of presidential staffers are now more than the number of MPs.
It is erroneous.
No, it's not erroneous. The budget line, go and check.
No, just make that final point and
let me come in.
Why would you come in? The budget for these officers are even more. So when you are telling the people of this country to tighten their belts, let the people see a demonstration of your willingness and preparedness.
Quick reactions.
Well, let me remind him that it's been agreed that 30% of salaries of these executives will be dropped. I mean, which we all know. Finance Minister said this.
Have they been though?
It's. I mean, as of when he said it, I think there was a timeline.
Right.
So Finance Minister made a press briefing and he said that.
There wasn't a timeline of about a month or two, something like that.
So let me just add that. Now, one key thing is that it's unfortunate that the addition of some of these services that were in other ministries, which were dropped,
and now being put under the presidency.
And now, for instance, even the ambulance service, which I think, personally, should be put under Ministry of Health. Is within the presidency. So these numbers that we are talking about are because of the ancillary services that have been sort of brought to presidency. And I think NAPCO is one.
Employ that route?
No. What I'm saying is that it is unfair to categorize or say that all these people are necessarily presidential staffers.
But you see, the problem is, Ben, by the way, but the problem is once you do that, you bring them under Article 71, and that's where the problem lies, isn't it?
And my key point here, for instance, I mean, ambulance services, look at the entire conglomerate for ambulance, the directors and all these people, but there are also people under who are working. And I really think that counting them as all part of the presidential, staffers is wrong.
Ben, whether Jonah swallowed the fish or the fish swallowed Jonah, there was a swallow. Our focus is not about where they are coming from.
But it's important because at some point these were ministries which have been dissolved.
That is not
and that is also part of the
issue. The issue is that
reduction.
Article
71 office holders
are going to be increased.
I'm assuming that some transition.
What transition?
To like, for instance, ambulance services.
That's fine. You see, this government, they don't get their priorities right, even in Parliament. He's a member he's a doctor of long standing. There are a lot of committees and boards on health. He's not in one. Do you know where they put him? You know
Murtala.
Which board did they know?
Why did you come on such a mischievous note this morning? Because
you see,
okay, you know what?
The incompetence
I want you to do this.
The Flagstaff House.
I beg of you, don't find trouble for Dr. Adomako.
Yeah, really. Are you on me today?
Because it appears today from his constituency to the committees in Parliament.
No, you see,
don't find trouble for him.
I'm saying that they don't get their priorities right. Look, you serve in committees to one, not just learn, bring to bear your expertise.
But he's not the only doctor.
Hold on.
He's not the only medical doctor.
How many medical doctors?
There are so many of them in Parliament.
How many are they
Murtala,
from their side?
let's focus on
They put
today's
him
topic.
on
It's okay.
Let's focus on today's topic.
But staying on the medical front,
Yes.
how does it make you feel? And these are two issues. Hopefully in some 5-6 minutes, I want us to clear, so I'll put them together.
Okay.
3,000 nurses have left this country since the start of the year. I have friends, nurses, doctors. In fact, some have gone to the UK, US, Canada. And currently, as I speak to you, some of them are sitting exams, doing certain things, putting in place mechanisms to travel out of the country. And what do they complain about? I think recently we've heard from the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They are talking about poor conditions of service, poor incentivization, long hours that are And they're all leaving. 3,000. And when you look at the doctor to patient ratio, the nurse to patient ratio, it makes you even more scared because they are also leaving.
I'll tell you.
What's your he's a medical person. I want him to. So let's do that and also address your issue that we're also passionate about, the flogging in the Wana's office. So let's do this very quickly and move on.
There's one key thing. The demand for nurses has increased post-COVID, and the reality is that the Europeans and the Americans, North American included, which is Canada, are looking at increasing their health base. They lost nurses too, a lot to COVID. COVID took away.
No, we understand the fact that they would want more people because they need them. The question is, they are poaching from us, and it's so easy to do so.
It's easy because it's more lucrative to go on the other side. That is the key thing, and it's a painful thing. I think the Kufuor administration, did some things which, unfortunately, over the years we've sort of readjusted. For instance, even car arrangements for practitioners, and it's a painful thing. I really think that one, Labour Ministry and then Health Ministry needs to revisit this current trend.
Because the brain drain we used to speak about
is happening. It's happening.
Becoming very prevalent
and
again.
Any single doctor lost to our shores is a heavy blow because he would have touched minimum 800
and look
lives.
at the investments we make in them, apart from those who are fee-paying.
Absolutely.
The subsidies and all
and
of
whether
that.
fee-paying or not, I think that once we lose is a huge thing on our human capital. And human capital is very important when you talk of development. And I really think that is a crisis, and maybe we ought to make a statement.
Maybe it's something you ought to take up, because this when I saw this, I was shaken.
Yeah.
Ben, in my constituency in Tamale Central, I haven't realized that even within the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly and the health centers, almost all the major health centers in Tamale are found in Tamale Central, except the TTH, which partly in Tamale Central and partly in Tamale South.
That's the Tamale Teaching
Yes,
Hospital.
Tamale Teaching, the West Hospital, the Central Hospital, they are all in Tamale Central. I had a discussion with the Metro Health Director before our parliamentary primaries. And he told me that Tamale Metro alone needed a minimum of 15 health centers, and we had just 5. So when I was elected, I got in touch with the Qatar charity. And the Qatar charity, thank God, last week, we commissioned a clinic. In fact, when the health director came, he said, the nature of it is that it could be qualified to be a polyclinic, so huge. That's what I did. All the equipment, the facilities in that hospital, when I had a meeting with the Metro Health Director before the commission, said they didn't have money. So I had to buy those things for the hospital.
What things?
The facility, the beds and the equipment that they need to operationalize the facility. If not, the facility would have been commissioned, and it would take a very long time until such a time.
So where did you get this from? Your common fund or your personal money?
My personal money. In fact, I had to even buy some of them on credit.
About how much are we looking at?
Over 100,000.
Over 100,000 cedis. And you had to personally get that for this hospital facility?
I had to even take money. Unfortunately, I have to say this on air, but 60,000 Ghana cedis from somebody. Because I didn't want the thing to be commissioned.
So you took a loan?
Yes.
You contracted a loan?
A friend gave. I don't think I need to pay with interest. A loan.
But a loan is, you're taking...
Because I didn't want them to commission the facility. And because once they commissioned, without the things that will make it operational, it will be useless. Yeah. And again, last year, I paid 100% fees of 10 medical science students. because of the economic conditions in many parts of the north, they qualify to do medicine. They don't have the means to. I paid for 10, and I promised that I'm going to pay for their fees till they complete the course. And this year, I'm adding another 10, so the number will be 20. So I'm using your medium, those who are willing to assist. No, honestly.
But I know these are things that a number of MPs, go through.
I paid 10. You know, there were other medical science students whose parents could afford. But those who could not afford, and interestingly, they cut across politics. Those are some are NDC, some are MPP, 10 medical science students. And this academic, the next academic year, I'm paying for another 10. And I will pay the continuing fees of those I paid last year. Thank you very much. And next year, I'll pay another 10. So I certainly...
Similar to what the education minister is also doing for engineering in his...
So I certainly would need assistance. And I don't feel shy to make that...
We all have needs.
But you see,
we all have needs.
You see, one of the reasons, and I want to state a specific date, on the 24th of February, 2017, the Ghana Midwifery and Nurses Council,
Registered Nurses and Midwives Association,
they had their congress in Koforidua, President Nana Ado's home region. And in their communique, they said we had a deficit of 38,000 nurses. 38,000. Yet this government, because of egoistic reasons, reintroduced the nursing trainee allowances. Allowances they haven't paid anyway. Now, how can you introduce nursing trainee allowances, teacher training allowances, and gave them quotas? So if you have the Kolebu Nursing Training College, for example, or Tamale Nursing Training College, that has the capacity to admit, let's say, 1,000 students per year, then you tell them, don't admit 1,000 students, admit 500 students. Because, please,
it's not really so.
No, that's a fact.
It's not really so.
That is the fact.
You ought to note that we've hired actually more nurses.
Can I finish?
In the past several years.
Can I finish?
You know that. We've cleared the backlog.
Can I finish? Another falsehood. Let me finish. I listen to you.
Is it true?
But I will respond to this anyway. Okay. What I'm saying is that it simply doesn't make sense that you want to expand and increase the number of nurses, considering the fact that even the communique I referred to, they themselves stated that we had a deficit of 38,000 nurses to be able to meet the WHO standard. Yet you introduce a nursing trainee allowances because of satisfying the uncontrollable ego of the president.
No.
Hold on. No. You do that and gave the nursing training institutions a quota. No, certainly.
But the thing is,
can I finish?
Okay.
Your action is a danger to the health needs of this country.
All right.
The same thing is done to teacher training allowances. What President Mohammed did, and this is what we call visionary, he said, look, these are tertiary awarding institutions. Let's give them loans like we give tertiary institutions loans, so that we don't reduce the number of nurses we train in this country until this thing is reversed. I am telling you.
But what good is it to train several nurses and not hire them?
First and foremost, that is another... Can I finish? That false which was also peddled, that under the NBC we never engage nurses. Go to the website of the Minister of Health.
It's not never.
You said between 2016
with limitations.
42,000 nurses.
Including a cap where you were even stopped from hiring.
42,000 nurses. 42,000 nurses were engaged. 42,000. And I'm challenging...
And we've done more than that.
I'm challenging multimedia to find out the ratio now.
We've done more than 42,000.
On the 24th of February, which was 38,000, per their own communique.
Right.
I can tell you that we'll be getting to 50,000, considering the fact that more and more nurses...
Let me quickly take your reaction to that, and then you'll wrap with the flogging. Now, at about 8:10, I want us to get into the parliamentary matters, and we'll just walk through them.
That's fine.
But your quick reaction.
So the key thing is, listen, one, when we came into power, there was a huge backlog in terms of nurses who had been trained and sitting at home. And this
There's
government...
still a backlog.
No, but...
More than you even inherited.
No, that is not the case.
Check.
Let him make his point.
We've hired more nurses, and to the extent that, I mean, on their watch, we had about 3 years, what do you call them, streams that were sitting home.
That's not true.
And it's come down to, if I'm not mistaken, almost 1.5 years, because some private institutions have been taken on, some haven't, per the hiring scheme. So I really think that what the current ministry has done, or the Ghana Health Service has done, is one, to absorb more nurses who are sitting at home. And I think that is commendable.
Thank you.
And it's unfortunate we're losing nurses to
There are a lot
Europe.
of nurses at home.
Let's move past the nurses. You brought this up, and I just want to take a look at it. It's also in your area.
Yes.
What happened? The flogging
in my area. It's in Upper West region.
Northern region. I mean, it's in the
because
northern belt.
Because I'm a northerner.
It's also in the northern belt. But are you not?
I am a proud northerner.
So if I say it's
no, when you say in my
okay, so you were thinking I was referencing Tamale or the northern.
Yes.
Okay, no, the northern belt.
Yeah.
Please, are you satisfied with that?
First and foremost, I disagree with the flogging. I know. In fact, I got the information first from multimedia when my good friend Samson talked about the new law that is passed about leaking. The story we had is that this video or tapes I haven't seen were leaked by the lady.
We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
That's the allegation. I am totally against the flogging. It's dehumanizing. I agree. But the Ghana Bar Association, this is a bunch of hypocrites.
The Ghana Bar Association.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
They say it was dehumanizing and we must stop all those things.
I agree with everything they said about it, but I'm saying that they are a bunch of hypocrites.
The Ghana Bar Association.
Yes, but who doesn't know? They behave like an MPP wing. In this country.
Oh my God.
In this country. The Lamashana Palace in Tamale. Police gunned down a gentleman. The Ghana Bar Association didn't see the need to say anything. In this country, people who went to demonstrate and participate in an electoral process, they were gunned down under the instruction of the government. The Ghana Bar Association hold on, can I finish? The Ghana Bar Association didn't see a jot about what happened to those citizens. So they pick and choose what pleases them. There have been a lot of, look, Nkranza, when they killed that gentleman, where was the Ghana Bar Association? They were in an absolute state of incommunicado. So my problem with them is that, look, what is good for the goose should be good for the gander.
All right, point.
Now, Ghana Bar Association, the same Ghana Bar Association issued an official statement. When the NDC lost elections in 2000, it said that they were never going to engage in political discourse again. These are a bunch of hypocrites. Other people can't do that. But for them, I have a problem because several incidences, and those I have mentioned, they didn't see the need. When this gentleman was killed, the military officer, Major Mohammed, what did they say about it? When they shot down people at Techiman South and other places, at Anyaa-Sowutuom, what did they say about it? They were quiet.
Do you expect the GBA to come out on every matter?
It was a violation of the rights of people. It was an attack on our democratic processes. You had military who were commandeered by ministers of state to parliament. The Ghana Bar Association didn't see the need to comment. Who are they trying to deceive?
Okay, all right. But let me also ask you this. You are of, again, and I say this cautiously, northern extraction because you're from the northern belt. Sometimes, time and again, we see these things. This isn't the first.
Yeah.
We see these things, flogging and the rest. What do you think can be done? Because this was done in the Wana's palace.
The one, first and foremost, I'm told was not even around.
I am told that, but he's been invited.
Yeah, I'm saying that he was not around. But we have had several instances where people have been banned, banished from certain communities in the southern part of this country. We've seen that. Isn't that also a violation of
it? It is, definitely.
Exactly. So where was the Bar Association? They never saw the need to issue statements about that. I am not condoning with what they did. I condemn it, and I don't think that it was right. But we have had several incidences. When you banish someone from a community in the democracy 21st century of Ghana, the Ghana Bar Association and other bodies didn't see that it was a violation of the rights of those people. Look, people don't have the right to take the laws into their own hands. The leaked videos, per what I listened to Samson, on your same platform, they should have allowed the proper bodies to take action because it is even criminal to do the things they did.
Okay. Let's go to Parliament, and we're going to stay on some of these things because we're talking about violence against ordinary Ghanaians meted out by the police and the military. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Sumana Bagbin, is tasking your Defense and Interior Committee to investigate these matters, to stamp out any possibility of military assaults on civilians, especially ahead of the 2024 polls. I'll start with you, Doc.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? Just call? Is it going to put the police and the military in a tight corner? What will this mean for civilians going into election 2024?
Personally, I've always said that our institutions need to be improved. And I really think that is what we should push for. Not just military, not just police, our accounting services, all services in the country need to be improved. And I really think that Parliament shouldn't be the place where we make that call, really. I really think that institutional heads need to be trained appropriately. I think that institutional heads need to be selected appropriately. no round pegs in square holes. And this, I'm talking from the fact that it is unfortunate that, first of all, our recruitment processes are bad. That is, and it cuts across all parties. And that needs to be looked at to the extent that, and this one, I think, like I said, both parties are to be blamed. That the recruitment is not as rigorous. Sometimes it gets influenced by party affiliation. And this is across all parties. And I really think that once our recruitment is made proper, then the people in the service will be people who are committed to doing professional work. So that has to be looked at. Now, beyond that, I think that even the ongoing training we give to our servicemen in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of even how they conduct themselves in public, needs to be looked at. And that aspect of, you know, and I love how the speaker said that, listen, you are civilians before you enter the service, and you are civilians when you retire. That was very, you know, mind-blowing. I liked him for that. But what is important, and I need to say this very carefully, that as a nation, all of our institutions need to be carefully looked at so that everything is not necessarily on the president. Because if the health institutions are working well, if the education institutions in this country are working well, if the police service, military service, all these institutions are working well, Ghana would move forward and will be better equipped. And
do you feel that part of the problem? I agree with you, by and large, with a lot of what you're saying. But we also have the issue to do with jobs for the boys and girls and how, in our security, you know, setup, we have both of your parties, you know. We've had people come out and say
take
that
us out of this.
We'll take you out where and say that, look, I have got SMSE and X number of people into the police service and all of that. I mean, without even realizing how bad that sounds.
And that is why I started off by saying that, first of all, you know, as they say, garbage in, garbage out. And it's important. I've actually cringed. We've had some very bad policing, experiences. People who execute their own servicemen. That is serious. Yeah. It's so bad to have a policeman shoot another policeman. I just can't think about it and see how it's possible. But it has happened. And I really think that we really, as a nation, ought to look carefully at our recruitment, because we've unfortunately recruited some thieves into police service.
Criminals, basically.
To use a very moderate word. And I really think that I'm begging, from grassroots to the top, we need to be very mindful. If not, we are literally putting guns into armed robbers to come and rob us.
And when you look at our national security setup, national security, Ghana police, military, it's becoming problematic.
And I think that, one, the professionalism has to be upped, and then two, the skill set of the people who are recruited needs to be looked at.
When you look at the police, do you feel Dampare can do this? And I'm saying so in the context of the political ping pong that we play. Can he do it? He's a member of the executive, mind you. And it's the same executive that usually gets people into.
I have my own reservations about Dampare.
What are these?
Especially, one, and let me say this on record, the over reaction of the police service in the public domain in terms of writing up and things like that, I really personally think is becoming a bit too much, where it's almost like a PR service. Because
the police is becoming a PR service.
I'm becoming a bit worried, and just recently, in as much as he may be right about his communication with
the UK High Commissioner,
it is totally unacceptable. Dialogue between countries are managed in a very different way, and I think that we need to carefully look at police communication. Right now, the signals are becoming too much. I've even stopped personally looking at all the police communiques, because
You think it's over the top?
It's becoming too much. And I'll say this here on air, that when I was growing up, when an incident happens at a police station somewhere, it has to be taken through the processes to the district, then to the region, then to national. And these days, it seems like it's 2 minutes. An incident happens in any police station, and the next thing I know is on national and police is reacting to it. And administratively, there's a reason why you need to wait and gather all the appropriate information before you react. And I really think that we need to look at that. I mean, an MP gets stopped at airport. It hasn't even gone to the regional command in Accra. The next thing you know, national is responding. And I really think that that ought to be looked at carefully. Right. Because nobody manages an organization that way, where an incident happens in Tamale North or South or Central at an ordinary police station, and it hasn't been addressed by the regional body. Then we hear national making a comment about it. It is not right. Administratively, that one day,
this is where
I really think that...
I think DSP Foray and Alexander Obeng may want to...
I really think that it is important that the processes... Because you can't have a local court handling a matter and then you hear the Supreme Court making a comment about it. It doesn't happen. All right. It has to go through the processes, due process.
All right.
And the expediency is just a new thing for me, because sometimes your comment impacts prosecution, your comments impacts or blurs the vision of the jury, and I really think that we need to be a bit hesitant.
More measured.
And measured in coming out, and the police service is to do groundwork.
So basically, the police, Dampare and his people, should tone it down.
Well, I think that the police service is not a communication service.
All right.
That is.
The police service is not a communication service. That's an interesting one.
And forgive me, I think I'm becoming a bit too worried, especially when we are rather even blowing up all cases in the media. I mean, it's almost as if every police case now is in the media.
In fact, if you look at the recent communication with the High Commissioner, it was restricted. It wasn't even supposed to. So the whole bit is how it even got. Yep. Your reaction.
See, that when the chief comes home with weird haircut.
When the chief comes home with a weird haircut.
What do you expect his subjects to do? The Gumbes have a proverb. Netang na baba on urum na chimba. They will come with tapiaju. The rotting of the fish starts from the head. That is the fact. Finito. It's a symptom of the crass incompetence of governance that we experience.
Everything has to go.
Please. I agree with him. Dampare should stop the showmanship. He's like a celebrity IGP. He should stop the showmanship. Crime is surging in this country. The core mandate and responsibility of any police commissioner, anywhere in the world, including Kosomokaya, is to ensure that people go by their daily activities mindful of the safety and security of they themselves, their families. That cannot be said. Yes, and that cannot be said about this country. Certainly cannot be said.
It's not too, I mean...
That cannot. I am saying that first quarter of 2018 under this government, by the same police themselves, their report, that we registered the highest armed robbery ever in the history of this country. Even during colonial days up to independence up to date.
Well, increasing population, you expect these things.
They took all those things into consideration. They calculate the proportions and others. If you see the document, you would understand. It has got nothing to do with population.
No, increasing population increases crime.
That they look at the proportion.
Make your point.
So if a percentage of this, they juxtapose that with percentages of the previous years. So that is one. Two, you are talking about NDC. Please, don't invite us into the muddy field water you play in. The NDC has got nothing to do with your recruitment.
Are you saying the NDC, when you're in power,
I'm saying that
you never have...
If you have the evidence...
People bringing people into...
Let me use the word boss.
Do you have the evidence?
Police, military, and all that?
Boss.
No.
We see and we hear. We see and we hear.
This one there is official. This one.
What is official?
You have your national executive officers who said that a criminal gang such as the Invisible Forces and others, you disbanding them. You're national secretary.
Okay, so we seem we seem to be digressing a bit. So when it comes to the bit about these services and what the speaker has said,
I am not digressing.
What do we do?
I'm not digressing. He moved from A to Z. You allowed him. I'm not digressing. The very place the speaker made that statement, one of the most important arms of government, if not the most important arm of government in a democracy, was attacked by the military and the police in uniform with guns. Coming events, they say, cast their shadows before them. The legislative arm, and in fact in a democracy, the legislature is more important than the other two arms, if you do not know. Because you can have a government without parliament, but you cannot have democracy without parliament. Now, this arm of government was attacked once again. Where was the Ghana Bar Association? With their hypocritical statements. This arm of government...
You are really on the Bar Association
I'm not interested in hypocrites. That's the point. Look at it. This arm was attacked. Look at me. And that day, people felt that it was all right. So if they could be commandeered to come to parliament with guns, armed to the teeth, what do you expect them to do when they meet ordinary citizens of this country?
So what the Speaker has said, the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament, what are your expectations? Just weave that in.
Now, he just said that he thinks that there's a problem with, square pegs and round holes. He said that.
He did.
When I was saying that a medical doctor, he's on a board on heavy equipment.
Oh, my goodness.
Heavy equipment.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's why I started heavy equipment board. So that's why I started. And how many doctors? They are not up to 3. Then he's on board on heavy equipment. He's not even on the health committee in parliament. So the rotten started from the head. I'll tell you an interesting story. When I went to parliament in the Chief Parliament, I requested to be on the Youth and Sports Committee because I have been a student leader. I've worked with National Youth Employment Program and others. Today, until we made noise, they were not advertising recruitment for young men and women into the security services. You are aware, under the NDC, every single year there will be adverts. They never advertised until we made noise in parliament.
I saw one recently for, was it the military?
Yes, I'm saying until we made noise. And I'll tell you one thing. If you observed, even with the military recruitment, you know what they did? They told their boys to wear white. Go and check the videos.
Where is your proof?
I said, go and check the videos when they were lined up in the various military enlistment. All those in long sleeves white were their boys. They told them that they should all wear white, so that when the people come, they know these are MPP boys. That's what they did. In this country, you have someone who claimed...
How did you come by this information?
Well, let them deny it.
I don't... This is
go and
news
check.
to me.
This
is news
if
to
they will
me.
put you in heavy equipment, you may not even know this. In this country, you have a young man who claimed he was selling phones at, what's the name? Tiptoe Lane.
Yeah.
He was a national security operative. Dampare is not interested in investigating to find out. When Sewa Bruni alleged that people masquerading, no, I'm not going into them, people masquerading as national security operatives stage a robbery. That's what she alleged. You think that it is not of interest that the police IGP should be investigating? Because if people who, under the guise of national security operatives, can masquerade as, engage in armed robbery, granted that the story is true, how many armed robberies haven't we experienced where lives are lost? What if it is possible that those armed robberies too were also staged? So I'm saying that, look, the problems we have is the kind of leadership.
In 30 seconds for you both, are you expecting that this committee... let's move on. Are you expecting that this committee, I mean, setting it up and all of that, will change anything as far as the script is concerned? We've seen Idra, we've seen Akachi, we've seen...
Do you know they increased the salary of the military, this government? Do you know how much they increased it? They should tell us how much. Why?
I think that what is very important is that the committee will come out with some recommendations, and I'm hoping that at least one of them will be about the recruitment process. And that is my biggest thing, that we make sure that how we recruit is appropriate, and how we recruit depends on people's skill set and people's devotion to and commitment to country and service to our fellow Ghanaians.
You people, the MPs, their MPs were asked to bring names. Constituency executives were asked to bring names. That's how they did the recruitment.
That is not the case.
If they didn't give you, then
we do not have...
he knows that. If
unless you furnish us with...
If they didn't give him, that's fair. But I'm saying that they are
Did they give you?
I'm not aware of that. The only thing we do, we go and plea.
Plea what?
You know, you make people
plea
come.
for people.
People, you make a plea.
Your constituents, basically.
Constituents.
And
that
we
they
could
get,
not plea.
No,
The plea was
I'm sure.
limited. The plea was limited to MPs.
As I sit here,
admitting that they gave them.
No. As I sit here, constituents have come with their forms.
And you went and plea.
And are asking that, you know, they've gone through medical.
So they come to you as MP. Senior. Can you?
And I don't look
help
if you're
me
MPP or not. And there are many forms. As I sit here, I have over 100 forms of military, prisons, and all these
Over
things.
100?
Over.
On your desk?
Listen, you go and buy fuel and they stop you. They're like, hey, look, you know, I applied, blah, blah, blah. And all you can do is receive it. So if he hasn't, I have over 100 forms with me. And
how many have you been able to plead?
So far, it's been tough.
But you got
It's
some.
been tough. No.
All right.
No, it's been tough.
Let's quickly look at.
Then they hit you.
Let's quickly look at this very important issue as
Because
well.
your colleagues have gotten a lot.
Gentlemen, just a minute on this. We have, especially at the back of the Sir John and his last testament, what we've seen. The Conduct of Public Officers Bill has come to the fore. Cabinet being roped in, Occupy Ghana, you know, stating its own points. The 2013 version, the 2022 bill that we're hoping will be passed into law. And it is crucial because there is talk especially about declaration of assets. Our asset regime, I sit here as a media person, is piss poor. You look at, I saw a list recently about those who have actually declared their assets from government and the chunk who have not. We have a 6-month opening. People are saying that must go. Because initially, when you look at the act, that was not what it was supposed to be. We gave a framework, created a loophole, if you like, and now people come in and say, oh, I'm going to declare. The other day, I had 2 members of parliament here. One said he had declared. The other said he was speaking to his lawyer.
Well, for
Only
very
God
good-
knows.
For very good
Some
reason.
of us don't even have any asset because we never stole.
You
from
don't
the-
have any asset. That is not true. Your farms and everything. You're a farmer. I don't say assets.
When I was a deputy minister and a member of parliament, we are here, multimedia, behind. Have you seen Mexico Hotel? Mexico Hotel. Opposite. I stayed in a chamber and hall room for 2 years as a deputy minister of parliament and member of parliament.
You stayed in a
Deputy
chamber and hall
Yes,
for 2 years
yes,
as a deputy.
yes.
But
The
is there anything wrong with that?
There is.
There is. What is that?
The Minister for National Security had to virtually threaten me out because of your safety. You see, these people, they have a desire for sweet things.
No.
The wizard and quarters.
No.
You have presidential staffers who move with militaries, captains, not even police. I never had a police officer follow me anywhere. Because why? If I took a police officer, now presidential staffers, the 337, assuming they all have police officers, how are we going to control crime in this country? They live in state bungalows. Presidential staffers enjoy electricity free, lights free. I drive myself, and I drove myself as a deputy minister of state and a member of parliament for 4 years. Because listen, the state owed me, but you see, because it was my choice, my decision, that I didn't want to have an official driver. And therefore, I could not go to the state claiming that money. Here, 2 years. So I'm saying that these people, you know, I don't know, what is our crime? What have we done to you people in this country?
Are you talking from which perspective?
I'm saying, what have we done to you? Everybody is crying. You have a dialogue, Galamsey dialogue, anti-Galamsey dialogue, 5 million Ghana cedis a day, half a day. You think it is not worrying?
Wait.
Anti-Galamsey dialogue, 5 million a day, half a day.
How long was this? When was this?
You don't know. It's in the budget. You have, hold on. Let me make this point. You have the same government that use COVID funds.
We have
COVID.
The committee and how it will help us.
We have COVID. Listen, we have COVID.
I thought that was your question.
The Minister of Health used 32 million.
We're actually now looking at the conduct of public officers.
The Minister of Health used 32 million Ghana cedis of COVID fund to drink tea. 32 million.
Those ones have been denied.
It's in the budget. You tell me they've been denied.
But when you look at all of this, our assets declaration regime, especially, because it's becoming very problematic. People have even said that, I mean, we could have someone submit a blank sheet of paper because it must be with, is it the Auditor General's, and then at the end of the term, or when something comes up, then we go and take a look at it. I mean, there are so many loopholes. It is sad because now people are, look, when you go out there, people are telling you, even when it comes to some taxes, I'll try to evade or avoid as much as possible because I'm not even sure that what I am paying.
I want to give a suggestion.
And while those on the other side, I enjoy the largest
suggestion, then you add it. Perhaps we should not just look at assets declaration.
We should look at what else?
Look at the wills of people.
We should look at the last testaments of people.
Yes, but for that, we wouldn't have known that someone can amass
from both sides, right?
Oh yes, I don't have any problem. I'm saying that, you see, our religious leaders and traditional authorities are not helping us. And as a Muslim, every single dime that doesn't belong to you, even as a member of parliament, wallahi, if you spend it on the day of judgment, you will account for it.
Even if you do zakat with it?
No, but you see, even if I want to take your money to do sadaqah, I should seek your approval. Now, if you spend money that belongs to 32 million Ghanaians, on the day of judgment, you will account to every single one of them.
Agreed.
But for the leakage, you wouldn't have known. We need to see their deeds. The ministers.
How do we solve this? Will the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, even if given, the right attention when it becomes law, will it be the solution to this?
I think that from a Public Accounts Committee standpoint, we should be more accountable to the people. And being accountable to the people is not just your asset declaration. Is how much you're earning from what you're doing. Because
let me just add, it's not even just your assets, your liabilities as well.
Absolutely.
Because someone can have very few assets, but huge liabilities. So the person engages in corruption, but you can't even tell because you didn't look at the person's liabilities.
And that's why I'm saying that I think that it should be looked holistically. And if our accounting is improved, then no CEO, no public official can defraud the nation. And even if they do, the quantum will be much reduced. And I really think that over time, per what I've seen in our 5 weeks of touring the nation, I really can attest to the fact that gradually our accounting is improving. Regardless of the infringements we see, we are at a better crossroads than we were before in terms of the leakages within the civil service alone. And I think that we ought to push for more improvement in the transparency and accountability.
In pushing for that, let me ask you this. Dr. Adomako Kissi, Member of Parliament for Anyaa-Sowutuom, have you declared your assets?
Yes, I had to before going to elections. We, the members of Parliament, is one of the requirements. So for us, you have to. Before
Did you declare your assets?
All of us.
There's nothing.
Is the CEO?
So I'm asking you a question. Have you declared your assets?
What I even included books.
Have you declared your assets?
I did.
You did.
I'm saying I included.
You
books.
have to.
But you see, if you have a minister of state who has a chef in his office, a minister of state, a chef in his office, I mean, these people sometimes.
But what if he's paying out of his own pocket? What's your
How much is the salary of the minister? So if he has a chef in the office, you have about 3 at home. How much is his salary? You see, that is the challenge we have in this country. People in other jurisdictions, your lifestyle, they can get an investigation into it. How the kind of lifestyle you live.
And I agree with that because we have people in government, people who have never worked before. You never saw them doing much. No, hold on. They get into government, whichever party, and all of a sudden they're able to afford houses in certain places where you are purchasing houses in millions of dollars and all kinds of things. But have settlements and you ask yourself,
how did it come back?
It's something that an ordinary Ghanaian, even working with these people's salaries, knowing their salaries, if you were to work for till retirement, you wouldn't be able to afford
sometimes we need to bear in mind that people leverage on their position, not necessarily, pay.
That is
true. But what is that called?
He just said he took a loan of 60K from a friend.
Not a loan.
Mind you, he borrowed.
Yes.
He borrowed. If not for his position, somebody may not.
No, he's my family brother. So
but he feels that.
I'm sure they look at you as a person.
Exactly.
And also
and listen. When I worked in certain jurisdictions in this country as a medical practitioner, Volta River Authority, for instance, the chiefs will be ready to even give you land, just so as a doctor you enjoy where you are working. And there are many doctors who in the hinterlands. receive plantain and things without even asking for it, just to keep you happy with the, you know, and mind you, I really think that sometimes we fail to recognize that certain people had certain assets before coming into government, and we quote unquote mistakenly bogged them with all of us. But, you know, I mean,
even as we talk about these matters, though, because these are public matters, I don't want to forget this. I find this interesting. I wouldn't usually go to the messages because we'll have a segment for that. But Teria Anointing says, please, I am hungry. I'm a certified electrician and I don't have a job. So please, any work that can feed me. He even drops his number. Ben. So while we are talking about public accountability, privately, people are suffering.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Ben, I know a politician in this country. I used to come on Newsfile with him. And there was one day we came out, he was driving some Mini Cooper. And I said, but this is your car. He said, oh, I'm driving it because, you know, Accra spaces. You know, with this car, I can find a space. Today, that same politician goes with 2 big cars. Apart from the car he used it. Have the spaces in Accra expanded?
Is probably a security
Mini
issue.
Cooper. Ask Samson last.
Probably
Samson is the one.
Right.
Safety and security.
So what has changed?
And safety and security.
He is now driving when he is moving. Apart from the car,
in his
and you know there are a class of politicians. They do what's the name? Check socks. You know that check, red and white.
You've
socks.
just killed the whole.
And they have some bundles.
You've just killed the whole.
Insatiable desire for sweet things. One of them was driving a Mini Cooper. Newsfile here, I remember. When we came out...
It's good you are not dropping any names. Please don't drop any.
Now,
I'm driving the Mini Cooper because... I'm driving the Mini Cooper because of space.
Gentlemen.
The spaces in Accra have expanded.
I am grateful for your time.
The population is even increasing.
But today you nearly killed me with laughter. Don't do that next time. Murtala Mohammed
is on heavy equipment, a medical doctor.
Oh, Murtala Mohammed is member of Parliament for Tamale Central. And we also have Dr. Dickson Adomako Kissi, member of Parliament.
Stay on the topic. Stay on the topic.
We'll be talking about TVET training in Ghana. We're talking about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But how about TVET? Countries like Germany, many stalwarts, many countries that are making it out there, develop their economies based on vocational and technical training. How about Ghana? We have an exclusive conversation coming your way right here on the AM show. Do stay.